Moving on, you just reminded us of what the Chief Alex Bade did say then, that they have been able to locate them, and they were very careful not to have any kind of collateral. They were going to close in and get the Chibok girls, and so many people, you inclusive, you were excited about that. Now we're hearing something from the Information Minister concerning the forest, the Sambisa forest, saying that Boko Haram has been routed out of that particular forest, believed to have been a place where the Chibok girls are kept. Now, the vibe we're getting, this is 31st of December 2015. If they say they have entered Chibok, Sambisa forest, and still we haven't been able to see the Chibok girls, what information are you getting from the families and other members of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign who had before now thought that this particular government had their finger on this particular problem, looking towards the Chibok girls?
Well, for the Chibok community and the parents, they see government as a continuum. In the early days of the abduction of their daughters, they faced all of these tentativeness and doubt, and then a lot of scorn and a lot of mockery, and the pain, and they felt that there was no empathy toward them. And they kept saying to our movement that they were grateful that there were at least a set of Nigerians that stayed with them in their moment of pain and agony. When the new government came in and we demanded for the meeting that we had always wanted, in order that the parents would be able to state clearly their strong demand for the nation state to take absolute responsibility for their daughter's rescue. The Chibok girls' parents were persuaded that President Buhari had given them a sense that it had taken ownership of their girls, and that everything would be done to find their girls. So you can imagine the kind of disappointment it would be for they to have listened in yesterday and to have heard that there is still no credible intelligence as to where their children are 7 months after the new government. The context, we need to also be contextual. One of the things experts in abductions had said to us when we started our advocacy was that once you had a long period of time pass between the time of abduction and the time that a search and rescue operation is mounted, your probability of rescue begins to reduce and dwindles further as the days go. We did miss a lot of time. The United States of America, as a matter of fact, had stated at that time that time was of the essence, but that they had had limitations because our own government was very tentative. Regardless of that, the parents, just like ourselves in the movement, believe that we are in the era of cutting-edge technology in the world. It is impossible for a concerted focus to finding the truth about the whereabouts of these Chibok girls not to raise some information.
Finding the truth is key here. Dr. Ezekwesili, just allow me to come in here. Finding the truth is very important here. But if you look at the number of our girls that are missing, and you put that side by side with the spate of suicide bombings carried out by girls, I know this would definitely bring some kind of morbid fear in everyone. Hasn't there been a case of one, at least, of those girls being rescued by the government or the troops?
You know, when you think of the fact that whether the girls that are involved in suicide bombing are Chibok girls or not Chibok girls, the mere fact that we degenerated to a nation where daughters of this country can be suicide bombers should be a source of the greatest sadness for us. That being said, the news that we've often heard every time that a young woman has been found in the suicide bombing situation is that their age ranges have been between 10 and 13. The most that we have seen has been 14. Remember that our Chibok girls, based on the presidential task force, the fact-finding committee that President Jonathan had instituted to verify or to ascertain the facts behind the Chibok girls, had stated that the average age of those girls was something about 16, ranging from 15 to 18 or 19. So that, on the basis of evidence or analysis, says to us that if girls who have been bombing are 10 to 13, then we have another segment of problem concerning the matter of girls and the violence against girls and women in this whole terrorism war.
You know, it would seem now that the advocacy of your group has extended from, bring back our girls to other matters related with security. We saw you at the Attorney General's office the other day talking about soldiers whose sentences had been commuted to either life or 10 years in prison. Tell us more about that.
Maupe, can you repeat again? Because I lost you briefly.
Yes, I was asking. I mean, I said the advocacy of your group, it would seem, has extended past bring back our girls now to other matters concerning security. We saw you at the Attorney General's office 2 days ago. Would you tell us more about that? What informed that?
Oh, okay. No, actually, it was always the case that we focused on our Chibok girls as the core issue, a single issue of advocacy, but because it is very related and connected to matters of insecurity more broadly, to matters of our military governance, and to issues that affect the rehabilitation and reintegration of affected people from the terrorism war. We always touched on those matters. I recall that last year we had spoken out concerning the military and the adequacy of resourcing for the military to prosecute the war. And when we saw for the first time the video clip of the Nigerian soldiers running away from Boko Haram, we were shocked. We could not believe what we saw. How could the soldiers be running away from Boko Haram when they were the ones who were depending on to secure the nation and to rescue citizens that were in harm's way with Boko Haram? So we put up a very strong statement and series of many other statements on the matter of the adequacy of empowering and capacitating the military to prosecute the war. When subsequently the government said that it was court-martialing some of those soldiers, we thought something is not right here. Why are they court-martialing soldiers who are saying that the reason they were running was because they were not armed? Why were they not armed in the first instance? By our own analysis, Nigeria was spending an average of $6 billion annually for the security and the prosecution of the war. So a lot was not adding up. So we took up, together with Femi Falana, a stance that the people who were being court-martialed needed to be given every benefit of the doubt, that theirs was not a case of miscarriage of justice. We insisted that the government needed to review their matter. While still insisting on that, Maokwe, we saw a change of government. And right now, what we have heard from the revelations coming out is that those soldiers were correct. The arms that they should have been given were not given to them. Resources were being shared for other purposes other than prosecuting the counter-insurgency war. How would anybody want to put them in jail, or even worse, try to kill them for not going on suicide mission? So that's why we took that up. But the principal reason we visited the Attorney General was that we're demanding that there should be disclosure of this Colonel Sabo report from the Presidential Fact-Finding Committee into the abduction of our Chibok girls.
All right,
it is important
we have to go, actually, because we're really out of time on this one. But thank you very much indeed for talking to us this morning. Dr. Oby Ezekwesili is the co-convener of Bimbaka Girls Group. We'll be back and continue our focus on the presidential media chat. You can keep your comments coming through to us. We'll appreciate it. Don't go away. We'll be back.